Hello and welcome to another Mordian Mondays. This is episode 87. Closing in on the big 100, the triple digits Mordian Mondays episode. Gonna have to think of something special for that. Not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but I've got a few weeks yet. But yeah, interesting. Can't believe I've been doing Mordian Mondays for so long. But anyway, let's crack on with today's video. What have I been working on this week? Well, as you can tell from this picture, and you can probably tell from the thumbnail as well, it is Scions. I am still riding that Scion train, guys. Absolutely loving it. And I've just decided that, you know, whilst they're good, and whilst I'm enjoying painting them and theory crafting with them and just having a great time with them, I'm going to continue down the Scion route. I know a lot of people are probably getting, Morning Glory, just talk about something else. You've been talking about Scions for weeks. I know, but I'm just enjoying myself right now. I'm just indulgent, I'm being a bit self-indulgent. I'm just enjoying the old Scions. So what have I worked on this week? Well, I have enough Scions and old metal stormtroopers and whatnot to put together a competitive Militarum Tempestus army, but it's in two different colour schemes. So what I focused on, you had the green and blue of the assault corps, of the Mordian rifles, and then I've got the black and blue of my actual Scion army. And I decided that I want to take Scions to more events, and I want to be able to turn up with a consistently colour schemed army. I'm not going to win best painted, but I don't want to get docked points for having two different colours but not fielding two different regiments, and it might be getting confusing. I don't know if that would ever happen, but let's just avoid the risk. And also, me personally, point of pride, I don't really like turning up with, you know, Mordian's Technicolor Dreamcoat of an army. You know, I've done that in the past where I've had loads of smorgasbord of colours just smashed together. And I don't like it as much as having a nice, cool, clean, consistent sort of colour scheme. So I figured, you know what, let's get that done. So I focused on the remaining special weapons and sergeants that I need for this army to go off. So this week I painted 5 Scion sergeants. I think they're called Scion Primes. Tempestors, they're just called Tempestors, aren't they? They're not called Tempestor Primes, that's the HQ choice. So I've painted 5 Tempestors. Really going with the meta choice right now. I've got the plasma pistols and the chainswords on them, and I'm loving it. Now, what's interesting is I know some people will be saying, well, Morning Glory, you're not worried about painting all the plasma pistols up and then GW having to, you know, making you pay for them, you know, correcting that. I don't know if it's a mistake. They've had a few chances to correct at this point, but correcting that thing with, you know, basically getting free plasma pistols and squads. And at first, I was like, yes, I am concerned about that. But then I realised something, which is plasma pistols on your Tempestors, bear in mind, as long as they stay sort of 5 points, which they have done for most, you know, most armies, for all armies that I think of, as long as they stay 5 points, are still a fantastic choice. And what would you rather have? The plasma pistol, or which, you know, you can deep strike in and shoot, the hot shot last pistol, which you can't deep strike in and shoot, or the bolt pistol, which you've got to pay for and will rarely do anything. You know, these days you're better paying for the plasma pistol or taking the hot shot last pistol if you want to really, really save points, assuming if, you know, you'd have to pay for plasma pistol. So in my mind, what it comes down to is the plasma pistol, even if I end up having to pay for it in future editions and whatnot, will still be a fantastic choice because it leans into what Scions want to be doing, which is damage output. You see, when I used to poo-poo the plasma pistol on my sergeants, on my stormtrooper sergeants, I used to be thinking in sort of guard player terms, you know, which is like, oh, you know, you don't want to be spending money on your sergeants and stuff. They're like grenade caddies and whatnot. But now with my Scions, I realise that they are a damage-dealing army, whereas a pure infantry guard and guard in general it's more objectives first and grind them down first than which I always knew. And pure damage-dealing sucker punch turns are very rare. But in the Scions, they're not rare. In the Scions, you will have, hopefully, sucker punch turn after sucker punch turn, where you can, you know, fly in and delete 2 enemy big things in a turn, and that's fine. You can do that every game if you want. So that's why I don't mind paying for plasma pistols on my sergeants. But I don't want to have power swords or power fists or anything on them, because at the end of the day, I don't. Our Games Workshop might do something now, or touch wood or whatever, but I don't see like a combat Scions army in being a thing, really. I think they're always going to be more shooty focused. Of course, you can have Crusaders, stuff like that, and they could easily make combat sounds if they wanted to, but that would require a new kit, and the sound kit's relatively new. So, you know what? What I'm trying to say, guys, is I think Plasma Pistol chainsaw sounds are going to be around for a bit longer in their current format, and I think even if they do end up having to pay for the Plasma Pistols, it'll still be the correct choice because it leads into what the army wants to do, which is kill things. Okay, so the other part of the painting, which is super easy to cover, is I painted my melter guns. So now I don't have to have any metal Stormtrooper melter guns. I've got all plastic ones, which is really, really good. Now, I've actually got more melter guns than I need painted up in this colour scheme now, but I've got all my sergeants painted up, and I've got all my melter guns painted up. So what I have left in terms of special weapons are ones that I don't need for my current army loadout. So I've got 7 hotshot volley guns, which I will somehow figure out how to take in my army. I just can't quite pin it down at the moment. I just can't quite. Once you've had a sweet, sweet taste of that AP-3-ness, it's really difficult to go back from Land and Lions and go to Capic Eagles. It's just really difficult. Because I face a lot of armies where AP-2 isn't enough because of Storm Shields. So because of Storm Shields, they'll be on a 2+ save with a Storm Shield means on a 1+ save, which means if you only have AP-2, you're only putting them onto a 3 up, and that's not good enough. You need to be putting them onto a 4+ save, 4+ invulnerable save. So yeah, bit of an interesting one there. And likewise with all the AdMech stuff out there these days, where all the 1-up save AdMech you come across, you need AP-3 to just put them on their ass. Otherwise, you're trying to shoot because power armors could tie down, and you're not having a good time. So yeah, so I have the volley guns, but I'm not using them currently, and I have 1 plasma gun left that I still have to paint. He's not needed, the plasma gunner, at the moment, but maybe I'll squeeze him into another list. So I've got those 8 models, and then I have 11 regular stormtroopers, regular riflemen that need painting up. 6 of them are Kazakin, and then weirdly 5 of them are this is super weird. So I had a spare box of scouts, and we're talking 2 or 3 years ago, or a year or two, 2 or 3 years easily. I had a spare box of scouts because I was putting together an Adeptus Arbites army before they released the models for Necromunda, the newer ones. I was putting them together with scouts and shotguns and third-party heads, and I've still got that army, but it just never sees play because, well, especially I built it for combat patrol, and it was a perfect for the whole of 7th edition. It was this perfect combat patrol, and then it got totally beansed in 8th and 9th. Anyway, and especially in 9th now, it's all elite choices. But I had a spare box of when 8th edition dropped, I had the spare box of scouts. And I realised I didn't need it for my Black Templar army, and I wasn't going to be pursuing the Arbite army anymore, so I converted them into Scions. So I've actually got 5 Scions, 1 sergeant and 4 riflemen who have got scout bodies and then Scion heads and hotshot las rifles, and they actually look quite good. They look all right. And I think when they're all painted up, you won't be able to tell the difference. The great thing about this dark colour scheme is that all models look equal in it. So you won't be able to tell the difference between them and the regular Scions, from a distance. So I've got 5 of those guys. So overall, if you've been paying attention to my rambling thing, I've got 19 Scions left. And then that's my Scion army completed. Now, bear in mind, that might be like a 2 weeks work at most. It's not a huge amount. At the very least, I am going to get those 5 converted Scout Scions and the 6 rifle and the 6 metal Kazakin done by the end of this week, because I have got another tournament, guys. That's right, 3rd one. I've gone to 1 tournament every 2 weeks so far. I told you when things opened back up that I was going to hit the competitive scene. I told you I was taking things more seriously, and that I was none of these Theory Hammer videos. I wanted to spell the myth, the meme that came around this channel from when I did that Vanquisher video, which got totally misunderstood. But anyway, I love that I've got a channel meme now. Oh god, it's not a good one, but any meme's a meme. But I told you I was going to take things, hit that competitive scene hard. And I am going to hit it hard. So it's the Scions going to another tournament this weekend. Now, I want to head off a couple of... I know some people are going to be saying, but Morning Glory, you said you were going to take your Steel Legion to your next event. I did, and you're totally right. And I just want... First, I want to apologise to those people that really want to see the Steel Legion. They will be going to an event, don't worry. Okay. But let me explain the mitigating circumstances. Okay. Firstly, I had to... This is the main reason. This is the absolute main reason. Firstly, I only knew I was going to this tournament last night at 10 o'clock, roughly. And I had to submit my list by last night. Because basically, I knew that there was a spare ticket for this event. I knew someone that was going to this event. And they had said they may have a spare ticket. And I was like, you know what? I've got nothing planned for next weekend. The missus is actually working the whole next weekend, so I'll just be sat there doing nothing. And I thought, you know what? I'll message Matt. Has he got, is that ticket still going? He's like, yeah, I have still got it, but the list submission's tonight. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not? I want to be hitting the competitive scene. It creates more content for this channel. So I was like, boom, I'll go. But I have to write an army list, and I'm going to bed in 5 minutes because I've got to get up for work on Monday. Okay, what army list do I already have written? Oh, the one from the last event. Copy, paste, submit, register, done. Or register, copy, paste, blah, blah. Anyway, I submitted the list within 5 minutes of saying I was going to the tournament. So that's why I'm taking the Scions. And I actually am it's a bit of a shame, because I'm taking the exact same list. I have messaged the TO and said, do you mind if I tweak it a little bit? I just want to make it so I'm not using exactly the same list, but he hasn't got back to me yet. And if he doesn't, then I'll have to take exactly the same list as I took last time. I just wanted to go to an event. I had the opportunity. So that was the first thing. I had to submit a list, straight away. The deadline was like 10 o'clock, and I ended up submitting my list just after 10 o'clock or so. I was already a bit late, but I didn't want to lose any points for submitting late. That's the main reason. The other kind of reason, because I thought, I could stay up till midnight and submit it on a Sunday, even though it'll be a bit past the official deadline, it'll be fine. But the other reason I sort of held off on going with Steel Legion is they're not quite ready yet. The Scion list, whilst not, there's Scions, there's a lot of different options you can go with. There's Iotan Gorgons, and there's, spamming Torx Primes, but the current Scion list that I have is very much a take-all-comers, well-rounded. It can operate in every phase of the game. It might not be 100% efficient in every area, but it's at least... it might not be 100% efficient in one area, but it's like 90% efficient in all areas, is what I want to say. So it's a good, solid competitive list. Currently my most competitive army I can field. My Steel Legion is good, but that's only, I would argue, like 75% efficient, 75% tournament ready. So I've got one of the Manticores ready to rock and roll. I've got the Demartial Cannon turret for my third tank commander ready, but I haven't got my second Manticore yet. And the Chimeras are not really loaded out with the weapons I want them to be loaded out with. We're looking at double heavy bolter Chimeras with a heavy stubber on top. And if I was going to try and make these guys a bit more competitive, I kind of want to be looking at, double heavy flamer Chimeras, no heavy stubbers. That's kind of where I want to be operating from. So the army is just not quite there. It hasn't quite got everything I need. I've got plasma sponsons on all the tanks. I don't want plasma sponsons on all the tanks. I either want no sponsons or I want multi-melters. The point is that the Steel Legion need 2 weeks to a month retrofitting. Maybe not even that, maybe like a week or two. But they need 2 weeks to a month of retrofitting, and then they'll be tournament ready. And I just thought, you know what? Why go to... I went to my first event with my infantry army, and I made sure it was ready for the event, and it was as competitive as it could be. I did the same thing with my Scions. I made sure that the list I could take was as competitive as it could be, and it was a nice, well-rounded list. It might not be able to take advantage of Gifts and Mechanicus or some other bits and bobs, but it's a nice, well-rounded list, and it can operate in every phase of the game, and I think it's very competitive for Guard. I don't want to do the dirty on my Steel Legion. I don't want to take a suboptimal Steel Legion list to an event, not do as well as I could do, and then come back and report on it, and for a load of people to say, look, Armoured Guard is shit. Because that's not fair to the army, and that's not fair to the armoured commanders out there. If I'm going to turn up to an event with Armoured Guard, I'm going to give it the best possible list I can give it. And if then I do badly, and it's not because I'm playing like an idiot, and I do badly because the list just isn't sufficient in this meta, then at least I can come back and say, look, categorically, there's no bad weapon choices here. This is the state of Armoured Guard. So that's what I want to do. And the third reason that really sort of clinched it for me when I had a split set, all this went through my head in like a second, and when I was deciding what list I was going to do. And the third reason simply was that at the last event, I didn't really get to test the Scions out properly because we were in pools and there was no way I could climb or fall on the ladder of the tournament. I was always going to play those three armies and those three players, and that was fine. And what I want to do is I want to take Scions to almost like, again, like a proper event and give them a proper teeth cutting, if that's the right thing, cut the teeth on something proper. So look, I want to go to an event, and if I fight my way up to the top table and then get kicked down again like I did in the first tournament I did with the Infantry Guard, I want the Scions to go through a similar path. Or if they get absolutely destroyed in a non-pool environment, then that's what happens. But at the very least, I want to test them properly. So, all jokes aside, those are my three reasons that were going through my head, and that's why I'm taking Scions. I'm taking the same list to another event. And it's just, I'm just really, really excited about it. I hope you guys are excited about it. I hope those reasons are good enough. I hope it doesn't feel like I'm making excuses. I don't mean to be making excuses for it. And I just hope you guys are super excited. I know you guys are pretty chill with what one of the great things about the Guard community is they're so laid back. And, you guys, like, just do what you want, Morning Glory. Just enjoy it. And I really, I do appreciate that I have that freedom. But I just wanted to explain myself to those armoured players because I know I had kind of made a pledge to them. And well, I don't want to be an oath breaker. Anyway, that's all for sort of hobbying and whatnot and the competitiveness and whatnot for this week. What's coming up for the rest of the week? Well, originally I was meant to have a battle report ready for this week, but unfortunately my opponent had to isolate from the old Rona. So, literally, nightmare. So, he's absolutely fine. We don't think he's got it, but UK rules. He's got to isolate. And so, I didn't have a battle report, basically. So, this week will be a couple of tactics videos. If GW releases anything interesting, we'll have a look at that. But, we'll play it by ear this week. So, anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.